Tammy. Hey, Tammy, we got your snowstorm down here finally. Good morning, Sarah. Hi, Donna. How you guys doing today? Good morning, Ginger. It's snowing here too, Donna. Really snowing. We finally got a hit and not a miss with our snowstorms. All our snowstorms keep going up to Tammy. We finally got one here. It's still in progress, though, I should say. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Christina. I can have it. Yeah, I'm sure. You guys have probably had your fair share of snowstorms at this point. Thanks for the shares, everybody. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. Everyone, welcome Sarah. She just joined my team recently after coming to a stamp club 2 weeks ago. How you guys doing? How's the weather where you are? I know it's snowing where you are, Sarah. Robin, hi. Brina, good morning, everyone. Linda, thank you guys for sharing. I really appreciate that. We're going to make a fun card today. I'm going to tell you, I kind of only have like a slight idea because I kind of half made one yesterday for my friend Rhonda. She was asking if we could make this card at the next club. Cold and rainy in coastal Virginia. Well, you're probably happier than we are. We have so far probably about 3 inches of wet, cold snow ice mix, and then we're supposed to get 3 to 6 more inches today. Hi, Mary. I know I should say Minnesota. I can't compare my snow to yours. Hey, Michelle, Judy, thanks guys for joining. Good morning. It's snowing. Yep. Snowing in Pennsylvania. We're not so far then, Gina. You see the sun shining. Good for you. I don't blame you. Frosty morning in Missouri. How you doing out there in California, Michelle? I bet it's just barely sun rising, I suppose, at this point. Well, I'm going to show you guys a little bit what we're going to make today. And again, I only kind of made one like preliminary card. And what it is we're going to make this card here is kind of like a peek-through card. So you have this, and I didn't put this together, obviously, yet. And then you have this other layer. So you could probably omit this if you want, but it kind of makes it fun to have like that double fold. And then a little peek-through. And I'm going to show you how I did this. And we're going to make another one, but I'm not quite sure what stamp set we're going to use yet. So I am open to suggestions if you guys have any. And I did realize that the Seaside folder is not in fact retired. Someone used one last week. I have a hard time sometimes with going with the annual catalog and the occasions catalog and remembering what is and isn't current. I'm usually really good in the beginning, and then as they add in the second catalog after Christmas, then I kind of get a little confused. So that's why I said last week I was going to use this one. I thought it was retired, but it's not. This is the one that looks like, you can make it look like ocean waves. It could kind of look like beach dunes as well. Seaweed. Lots of fun stuff for this. Tears, if you wanted to make a sad card, but, or really even wood grain. Kind of looks like wood grain. But there are lots of really great folders that you can use for this. This is the basket weave. This is the dynamic textured impressions embossing folder. This actually is a bundle, and there's a basket that goes with this. You can get this right now free for celebration with a $100 purchase, and this is actually going to carry over to the next catalog, which is pretty cool. And right now you can also get the dynamic sequins. This is free with a $50 purchase. This is another dynamic one. It has it's basically, this one is really thicker, so it gives really deep grooves, kind of the same as these. As you can see, they're much thicker than the regular embossing folder, so these are really fun. You're in Utah, Michelle. I'm sorry you're not in California. Oh, I thought you were. That's what we were talking about, is you probably get fast shipping from your Stampin' Up! Order since you're already in Utah. Okay, and then we also have the hardwood. This is another one you could use. And this is the one I was working on. I didn't finish this. I did like a little teaser with this last week. This was the project that we worked on last week that my friend Donna shared with me. And I started with it for making a wood grain, but I didn't finish it. And what I want to do is what she did was, instead of using a plate, after having a better conversation with her and me understanding more, she didn't use a plate. What she did is she grabbed some thicker pieces of paper and she layered them together and kind of put it over a spot. That way it would put the embossing folder only on that area. And that's how she got her really pretty patch to her card. And I apologize, I left it downstairs. It's downstairs in front of my computer. But this is what I'm going to finish up with, so I will show you. I wanted to make this all these different colors, though. This was using the embossing paste, and I just added in a couple different colors to kind of make it look more like wood grain. I just didn't finish up with this yet, so I will show you that. Cozy Cottage, Brina, that is actually one that I thought would be a really good idea to do with this. And I did bring that one over. So I will give you an idea. The only thing is it is a little detailed to color, so I wouldn't want to make you suffer through the coloring. You also have Softly Falling, so that's one you could use. The Cable Knit is a dynamic one. The Hexagon, which is the one we did with the dragonfly and the bee, that's another fun one. And you have the Bricks. This is something similar that Donna did with the wine glass card. And the Woods, this is the Woodland. This is actually one they brought back. I think that's the first time they ever did that. This one's great for, you could put something in the background so it's like a peek-through card. Like I've seen it with the Guy Greetings, the car in the background. And then the Sparkle. This is really cool if you wanted to make this, again, for a guy card. You could use this to make with silver foil paper. And then you could make like that riveted floor look if you wanted to. And make it like a really male card, masculine card. You could add the new stamp set that's in the Occasions catalog. Which I cannot think of the name of it right now. I can see it. But I can't read that far because I don't have my glasses on. But anyway, you could add that to it with the Dapper. That's it. The Dapper Suite. That would be a really cool card to do with this. So you could add this and add in some of that really nice ribbon. Be really cool. So basically what I did was for this card, and I'm going to show you one other one where I kind of started it. You could do this any way you want. So you could do it directionally this way as well. It will stand up. So you could do it as a standing tall card. You could do it as a sideways card. So this is a lengthwise card, or you could also do it as a widthwise card, so it stand like this. But what I kind of did was I kind of played around with the sizes of the paper on the inside, so it doesn't really necessarily, this one you'll see, so the base here is 4 1/4 by 11, and then you score it at 5 1/2. And then this one, what I made, it was 4 by 5 1/4, so it would kind of nest in there really nicely. So it's a hidden layer. So it's basically like a base layer card, or base layer, but made into a card. But then this one, what I did is I kind of just had a piece of scrap that I was fooling around with. So this is a full layer card. So this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, score it 4 1/4. And then this one is just a little piece that I had kind of left over. So it would be almost like a little bit more of a square. And then you could fold it in and then fold this in. And then we'll cut whatever we're going to do. So this one was using the Sparkle. I know it's a little hard to see on that Elegant Eggplant, but this was using the Sparkle Impressions folder. So what I thought we could do today is we could do one with either the We Must Celebrate with these little dudes. They would be really cute if you wanted to do like a happy birthday card. We could do it also with the Flying Home with the birds. And the other thing I thought is you could even do this with these little guys here. And then you could add, from the Teeny Tiny Wishes, you could add the Happy Easter. Because this will be a cute Easter card. Because you do have your bunny and your little fellas in there. And then the other one I wanted to grab. I thought I grabbed, but I guess I didn't. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Was the Cozy Cottage. Because this will be really cute to put the cottage. So you would have the cottage kind of peeking through on the inside. So this would be a really fun card to do. And you could even put, so the cottage would be all the way on the inside. So I was thinking about this as I was thinking up ideas this morning. You could put the cottage all the way on the inside. And then you could cut out another circle. So just for example, you could cut a circle in this one. So let's pretend like your circle was here. And then if you had something else on this part here, so say this is your circle and you stamped a little something here. And then this could layer over it. So it could almost be like a double peek through card. But you just would have to plan out exactly what you wanted to do with your stamp. So let's do that. So what do we say? We have Cozy Cottage here. We have We Must Celebrate. So we can either make just a regular card. We could do Flying Home. Or we could do We Must Celebrate. So you guys pick. I'll give you a minute. And we'll see what we're doing. Diamond plate. Yeah, that's a good idea. You could do the diamonds too. That's a great idea. Little diamonds. Yeah. Really pretty. So in case you guys don't know, Celebration is coming to an end really soon. It ends March 31st. They still do have the promotion that if you join right now, you get $125 worth of stuff for $99. You get to pick 2 free stamp sets. That does end March 31st. So if you would love to be a stamper, get a discount, buy this stuff with a discount, you don't even have to sell anything, I would love for you to join my team. So I got one We Must Celebrate. I see Cozy Cottage. Let me just scroll back here for 1 second. Oh, come on. Sorry, it's shaking a little bit. Oh, that'll be pretty too, with the Lovely as a Tree. Yeah. Flying Home. All right. I've got one of each. I'm waiting for someone to type. Come on. Somebody has to be the deciding vote. It's almost going to be me. All right. Here we go. Flying Home. All right. So Flying Home just won. Reba. There you go. Flying Home. You made the decision this time. Okay. So what we're going to do is we will stamp... I haven't even used this stamp set yet. How you like that? I haven't used We Must Celebrate yet either. But I saw Linda Cullen made a really cute card with this. And she did like a highlight with these birds, which was super, super fun. So what we're going to have to do is just kind of figure out what we want to do with our layout. So how about if we do something really bright? So we can do... Let's do some crushed curry. And what I'm going to do with my card is I'm going to cut my base... And I'm going to do this one as a long card. So we're going to cut this at 5.5. Or a short and fat card, I guess I should say. And then I'm going to score it at 4.25. Okay, so this will be my base card. And then we're going to get a piece of Whisper White. And it kind of depends. So like I said, you could do this if you just had some pieces laying around. You could do this with whatever you like. And since we're going to possibly do two cut throughs, I haven't really decided yet. I'm actually going to use some thick Whisper White. So this is already cut. This is going to match this exactly. So I'm going to just trim this down a little bit. So I'm going to trim this down to 4 by 5.25. So I'm going to just trim. Oop, that's not right. 5.25. Oh, that would have been a big doozy. Not surprising though. So that's 4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim just a little bit off of each side. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch here. I think I did a little too much, but that's okay. I'm doing it backwards on the fly. All right, so this will be our little layer piece that we're going to put inside. Yeah, it's just a little bit smaller, but that's no big deal. So we're going to put this inside, and then this one's going to layer on the top. So what we're going to decide now is exactly what we're going to do with this, with the embossing folder. And with the birds, move this one out of the way. With the birds, what I'm going to kind of think is, it'll be kind of fun to do the basket weave, but since it's the birds, maybe we'll do the trees. That would be kind of fun. Have them like peeking through the trees. Now, the only thing you want to remember when you do this, to be able to get this onto the front, is you're going to partially emboss your front page, okay? And what I would suggest is we're going to cut out what we're going to do first, because when I made this one, what I did is I embossed it, and then I cut the circle. And if you can see the difference here on these two layers, so that would be the piece that I cut out. It wasn't very deep, because I kind of ran it through again with the cutting, and I smashed it. So I went and I re-embossed it with the embossing folder. So what I would suggest is we're going to cut the center out first, and then we'll run it through with the embossing folder. So we just have to decide kind of if we wanted to use these trees, which would be really neat, where will we be able to line it up? Because you don't want to emboss over your score line here. So we'll kind of just go with that. We'll say it would be in the middle. And for right now, I'm also going to just grab the same thing again. I'm going to go with a circle. So if you were going to emboss, you kind of just have to decide on your layout is basically what you want to do. So if you're going to emboss here, I'm going to move this up to the bottom. So if I'm going to line this up in the very bottom corner, so it's to the bottom of the cardstock here, and it's to where the fold would be on this side. And we're just going to kind of eyeball where we would want our circle to be, okay? So I'm going to take that and kind of just, so it's like a little bit over to the side. So I'm going to put this in the center-ish, just like that. And what I'm going to do is, I thought I had a piece of washi tape right around here, but I don't see one. I'll just use a piece of, I have a piece of painter's tape, so I'm just going to use a little piece of painter's tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want this center-wise and just put just a piece of tape there just to hold it. So I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. Move this out of the way, and I'll bring this over so you guys can see. Okay, so I'm going to put this through my Big Shot. So you do want both cutting plates down. One on the bottom, one on the top. And we're just going to crank this through. But the fun part about this is you could really do this with anything. Any kind of a card that you wanted to. And that popping sounds normal. So if you've never used a Big Shot before, that is normal. And we're going to go back and do this embossing, but I just want to pull this off first. Save that piece for later. So you could use this for something else if you wanted to. So we're going to keep that here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to run this through. So since this is a regular embossing folder, we can use both of our plates for this, okay? Because when you have those dynamic embossing folders, you can only use one plate because the folders are so thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line this up again down to the bottom. So I'm going to put it at the fold. That way I know I have it creased just where I want it. So kind of just like that. And once again, with your Big Shot, so you're just, oops, move this through. And you don't have to leave this so this flap is down. It doesn't really make a difference, but you can put it so it's open or so it's down, either way. And then you're just going to pop your other cutting plate on. And, oops. Nope, you know what? I had my platforms confused here. You do want to open this up to the second tab. Sorry about that. Let me just reline this back up. If you have if you've more recently gotten the Big Shot, you probably only have the newer plate, which just has the one flat plate, which does make it simpler, but I like to use this old one. Only because it kind of has some instructions on it. So you're just going to crank this through. Okay. And then you have your trees. So your trees are just on the front of your card, okay? Move all this stuff out of the way. And then the other thing is, if you have, like if you had a folder, say for example, and say you only wanted part of it to be embossed, the other thing you can do is when you line up, so say for example, we were to do this is just a side note. Say you only wanted for some reason it to be the top, right? So you put your card on, and this would have to be facing a different direction. But you can also put it, or if you wanted it to just be half, you could also put it so just half of this, and then only this half will emboss. So for example, if you wanted to do something where you had it like, I don't know, part ocean and part sea or part sky or whatever, you can do it so only this part here would emboss because this is the only part with the pressure. So you could also do this if you had it folded a different way. You could only do it so it was part being the top, so then just the top would emboss. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. It just kind of depends on where you put your cutting plate. So basically just a little bit of info there. Okay, so you have your top layer. And then we have our base layer. Now what I did the last time when I did this was I closed up my card just like that and kind of just eyeball where you think you want it to go. Make sure this is nice and creased. And then I folded it just to make sure it was pretty neatly in there. And then what I did is I just took my, I took my pencil and I just did a really light line on there. That way you know exactly where to stamp what's going to show through. Now this is also one other really good idea, depending on if you decided that you wanted to cut through another layer. So then what you could do is you could take your circle. Now I wouldn't necessarily use the exact same circle, only because then it's going to be a mirror image, so it'll be completely cut through. What would be fun is if you wanted to do like one layer smaller. So for example, if you took the next smaller layer down, this would kind of give you a guide of where you wanted to set it inside of. And then it would almost be like a telescoping view. So then you could cut out this circle. And then what that would do is it would help you to peek through to this side. So while we're at it, let's try it. I haven't done this one yet, so we'll see what it looks like. I might not like it, but you never know, I might like it. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to look backwards because remember this is opening on the other side. So I'm going to take my circle where I put it, and I'm just going to try to make sure that I have it lined up at the edge, and it's going to cut inside, just remember that. So put this down. I'm going to just use that same piece of tape again, and I'm just going to pop this through one more time. Not going to make you watch this time. And then you'll have your other layer here. So I'm going to pull this one off. And again, you could save this circle. Same thing with the white. You could do something else with it. So those are just the layering circles. Now this is, I'm going to tell you, I didn't line this up exactly. So it is like slightly askew. So we'll just kind of have to work with it. But it will show when we line this up. What I'll do is I would line it up so it matches this. So it's like a layer here, and then the inside would just be kind of just like a little bit off, which really won't be a big deal. We'll just straighten it out a little bit. And then the only thing you have to do is go through and you want to erase your pencil line. So let me just go ahead and do that. Since you now have your layer of where you want it to be. And again, just make sure if you do this that you line your circles up a little bit better than I did, but you guys know that's what happens when you don't make a card ahead of time. You're just winging it. Literally, look at that. We're with the bird set and we're winging it. Okay, so fun thing to do. So we'll see. I have this one here. And what we'll do is I'm going to stamp. Be kind of fun if you stamped the birdhouses, because what they would be is you could stamp them flat onto here. Part of them would be out and part of them would be in. Not sure if that would be a little bit confusing though. We could also do the bird's nest. We could do this one hanging up here in the trees, and then this one peeking through. So if we did this on the inside with the bird hanging, with the birdhouse hanging from the tree, and then we close this one up and we put the birds down here, so part of them be on the outside, part of them be on the inside, that might be kind of cute. So let's see, we'll see what that looks like. Might not be a good idea. So let's see what we end up with. I don't know. Yeah, for the birds, no pun intended. Thanks, Donna. Somebody gets my joke. All right, this one's a little too big. All right. So, you know, Christian's already asking when he can do his third Rainbow Stamper Guy video. I told him that all you guys really liked his cards that he made, so he was just, you know, tickled about that whole thing. I'm going to use Memento ink. And let's see. All right, so let me just give this kind of an eyeball. So, oh, that's just me. I'm going to put just a little pencil line here. Oh. So I can figure out exactly where I want this. So part of it will kind of show through, and part of it will be on the inside of the card. Okay, so you have your birdhouse, which is good. So we're going to put this one on the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp this. So I want to kind of stamp it without overlapping. So I might only ink up part of this. So let's see if I were to do down here. Yeah, so we'll do that. So I'm going to just ink these two on the far side. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip inking this one altogether. So if I get it, I'm going to just wipe it off a little bit with my finger. I saw somebody else doing that this week. I think it was Kelly. She was saying the way you could do lazy stamping is just, you know, you're going to end up with inky fingers anyway, right? So you can just wipe it off. Okay, so now, make sure I don't make a mess of this, is I'm going to just ink this over here. Stamp this. So it'll be kind of partially showing through. So it kind of be like a cute card because it's a little bit of a peek through. All right. And what I'm going to do is, because the way the layers run, I'm actually going to just fill this in a little bit with my black Stampin' Right marker. Okay. So let me just see. I'm going to just do this just the best I can. Just kind of drawing the lines on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of meeting where this would be. Okay, that's good. I think I got a little bit of a runoff there. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just take my bird houses down to the bottom here, the poles. You can see I'm not so great at drawing super straight lines, but that's okay. I'll just pretend like this was something my grandfather did. Some of his wood was a little bit crooked sometimes. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you could actually go ahead back in if you wanted to. We could add some of these other little guys in, and I'm going to add these after the fact because we have these little birds and butterflies, and what we'll do is we'll stamp them in with colors. But in the meantime, we're going to color this in, and then we'll also have to figure out something we want to do for the front of this. Okay, so I'm going to just put this one over on the side here, and we're going to color. So we can either color these in with Stampin' Up markers. We could do it with watercolor pencils. You could do it with your Stampin' Blends. You could do it more so with your Stampin' Blends on the inside here because this one's going to be flat. So if you wanted to do that, you could do like your inside card with the blends and the outside card with your pencils. How about we do that? Because that'll be pretty fun. That'll be simple. All right, so I'm going to do, I'm going to use my bronze, and I think I have my crumb cake, light crumb cake, and color. We'll do pool party for the bird. Need a little bit of yellow, maybe a teeny bit of pumpkin pie, and a pink and a calypso coral. So we're going to do this with the inside. And what I'm going to do just quickly is I'm going to erase that pencil line just so it's not on there now that the ink is dry. You definitely want to make sure your ink is dry when you do this. There you go. Okay, and I do want to grab my green just for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our green. I'm going to color these in just a little bit. Try to do these slightly quickly because I know y'all probably don't want to sit on here and watch me color forever. And honestly, I wasn't planning on doing the blends for this. I was going to just do it with ink. So you could certainly do this with your Stampin' Up markers if that's what you have. Got to remember, a lot of those ink colors are going to be retiring really soon. So if you haven't gotten them, make sure you get what you want because they're going to be insanely priced on eBay and you're going to be kicking yourself and saying, I knew I should have listened to Rachel. Trust me, I've done it myself once. That's why I warn people. You wouldn't believe how much money I spent. It's embarrassing, really, on some refills. This was kind of before I was a demo. I'm just going to add just a little bit of yellow into these. You could also add the dark green if you wanted to as well. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of, let's go with that. So I have the pink pirouette. This one is the darker one. I'm going to put just a little bit of pink flowers. I think it was when the, it was kind of when they had first come out with some of the in colors. It wasn't the very, very first one with the Poppy Parade, but it was when they first came out with some of the in colors, and I was Tammy White's customer long before I was a demonstrator here, and I didn't realize, of course I had seen the warnings of make sure you get what you want because it won't be there long, and I thought, well, they'll be there. Why wouldn't they be there? Until they weren't. So that was a very expensive lesson to learn. Got a little bit of pink, a little yellow here. All right, now I have my Calypso Coral. Again, add that in. And you can make these definitely way more colorful. Again, I don't want to make you guys sit here and watch me color for 800 hours. All right, let's add in some blue. This is Pool Party. And I'm really only using the one shade of them currently, so you can do it both ways if you wanted to. This one is the dark Pool Party. Take your time. Whatever it is you want to do. And I'm going to do one more. I'm going to make this one. This is the dark pink pirouette. And then I'm going to go with the light pumpkin pie. So that's pretty. Let me just, I missed one little piece of leaf here. Make sure I got it all. Need to start realizing I need to bring my glasses upstairs with me. Okay, so we're going to do just the birdhouse. So I'm going to just do this a little bit later. I'm going to do the inside kind of like a wood. And then I'll make the rest of it a little bit more colorful. And all the birds are going nutty here because all the snow. Make that darker on the inside. All the snow here today. So we're going to have to go out and feed the birds later. Saw a lot of beautiful cardinals, which is really cool. We do have woods behind our house, so we're really fortunate that we're able to see a lot of really cool. I'm going to make that bright, really cool birds. I'm going to make this a bright yellow. Do his little beak while we're at it. Add in a little bit of pumpkin pie. Okay, we'll do a little bit here. And Calypso coral. All right, and then I'm going to do the bird. I'm going to do him in just a little bit of a light color. Add a little bit of pumpkin pie underneath his belly, kind of like a robin-esque. And then a little bit of dark right on his head, a little bit on his tail. It's a great day for crafting, I'll tell you that, because it's snowy. I certainly don't want to go outside. We'll see if that flies with the little man if he doesn't want it. It is so beautiful out right now. But we'll have to see if I can keep him in. Okay, so now I'm going to use the watercolor pencils, and we're going to color in the rest of the bird houses on the front. Okay, so again, I'm going to just try to I'm going to try to do this just quickly because I don't want to make you guys suffer. Let me move these out of the way. You can also use these together. So if you have your Stampin' Blends and you have watercolor pencils, what I've done before is I've actually started coloring with the watercolor pencils, and then you can kind of add the blends in because it will highlight or low light, depending on what it is you're going for. So that's really pretty fun as well. I'm kind of hoping that they either add some more Stampin' Blends. Would really love them to add some more watercolor pencils too. That would be really fun. But guess you can't get everything. However, you never know. New catalog. Hoping they add some new fun tools for us to use as well. And when you have these watercolor pencils, okay, I'm just going to color this in, and then I'll show you guys something different that you can do with them. You know, this is going to kind of have like that missing hard line here of the rest of them. So if you don't like this with it being partial, you know, you can certainly skip this part. Or another thing you could do if you wanted to, if you knew this is something that you wanted to do, just again, you know me going on a crazy sidebar, is you could stamp this on here before. So you could stamp your birdhouses before you punched out your circle. And then that way, if you had it, you would have your circle part off of here, and then it would just have the birdhouses on the side and then the peek through. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do with it, but just, you know, just a suggestion. All right, now I'm going to finish. I'm going to just add the rest of this in. So when you do your watercolor pencils, you can blend them with the aqua painter with water if you'd like. But what I really like to do with them is to do the blender pens, because it really makes them look super, super cool. And the good part about these is they are definitely very bright. And just one more note, if you didn't notice, there's actually a kit in the catalog. Can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but I will link it in when I put this up. And they actually have 4 other ones. I believe it's Lemon Lime Twist, and Flirty Flamingo are in this kit. And I know this kit is going to retire because Flirty Flamingo is retiring. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's in there. But they have watercolor pencils in with that kit. So if you wanted to have a couple extra colors, give you something to play with. Yes. Yeah.
The side of my toe is ripped, kind of.
Okay, I'll get it when I'm done, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Stamper guy's got a busted toe here, apparently. All right, let me bring the rest of this in. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of what you can do with the blends. Let's see. Do this one, gray. What you can do with the blends versus if you wanted to use a blender pen. And again, I'm going to make this dark here. Kind of have the gap here. So just remember, you have your gap of here in here with your colors. So if you're wanting to have a better edge of something, you might want to open it up in color. And just, you can kind of blend this off. Would be fun with your blender pens. That way it makes this a little bit softer. If that makes sense. Put the head here, head of the bird. And we'll do this little outline. Sometimes it's easier to do it kind of in pieces just because you can get to your edges a little bit better. And again, you can kind of make these so they soften out. And the other cool thing about using the watercolor pencils is, so this is the same pencil, but 2 different colors just because you color it a little bit darker. So, you know, there's a lot of fun little tricks you can do, but you kind of just have to fool around with them a little bit. I really, really, really like watercolor pencils, and I would be 100% honest with you. My absolute favorite, one of my favorite tools to use that's really, really reasonable to get is a blender pen. They really, really are. They're very reasonable considering what you're getting, what you can do with them. You can use them for the markers. Look at this one, even has a little tire swing. How cute is that? You can use them with the markers. You can use them with ink pads. You really can even use them with the blender pens. You can use them with watercolor pencils. Lots of versatility. So if you don't have blender pens, you really should get yourself a set. They're not really very expensive. You get 3 of them in a pack. They are reusable. The only thing I will say is I have one that I use specifically with my white and one that I use specifically with my black. But that's it. The rest of them, all you do is you just take your ends, and I'll show you when we're done. You just clean them off, and it's got a glycerin solution in it, I believe. And that's all you have to use. And you can do so many different things with them. All right, let me just do my tire swing. We're almost done. Another fun thing, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and sponge this. So that'd be another, oops, forgot to color in the rest of the bird here. That'd be another fun thing to do. You could sponge the edge of this if you wanted to. All right, and let me see. I'm just gonna add a little bit of white to this yellow here. Okay, I think I got it all. Okay, so now, so you can see everything is colored in. Okay, now what you could do is you could take your blender pens, and this is the great part about this. So I'm not going to do the whole thing because I don't want, again, make you have to watch that. This part is all done with the Stampin' Blend. So you see it has like a nice soft color image to it. It's very blended. So you take your blender pen, and I'm going to show you here, just on this top part. I'm only going to do half of it just so you can see the difference. And then in between each color, you kind of just want to make sure you wipe it off if you're going from a dark color, because it will bleed into your other color. So you kind of just blend part of it. Just going to show you half. Might not be super easy to see. Oh, there, I got a little red into my gray. Okay, but basically between the two, so this still has visible pencil lines. This is very soft. Same thing with it, kind of went all the way across. So you can see down here, this is definitely a much more blended look. I didn't go all the way through to the flowers yet. But what it basically does is it liquefies your watercolor pencil. And it kind of blends all the color together so it looks like markers. So you could do that. Another thing you could do though, if you wanted to. So I'll just show you with this. This one, you want to be careful. I'm going to do it on the back one, but on this one, it will bleed through. So you can see the blends do bleed through a little bit. I'm going to do this with just the back part here. But this is the light pumpkin pie. So again, I use this one. I think this is pumpkin pie. Yeah, pumpkin pie watercolor pencil. So you can kind of blend these together. And it definitely gives you a much darker color using these as a blender. So you can see, even from this, so this was the Stampin' Blends, this was the blends and the watercolor, oops, pencil. So it kind of gives you a whole nother color palette. So there's like a whole nother set of things you could do with it if you wanted to. And you don't necessarily even have to have the coordinating pencil. So this is Pool Party. So say if we went onto this roof part here, the other one was Bermuda Bay, and you kind of blend them together. It definitely gives you a little bit more of a dimension with your color. So it's lots of different things you can do with that. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'll blend this after the fact because, again, I don't want to sit here and make you like watching paint dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in here. This will go on this one. And I'm going to put some Fast Fuse. But this is a really fun way to be able to, I'm not going to press this down yet because I want to make sure I line this up here in the front first. So what I did was I put Fast Fuse on the back, and you can see this is already going to be a tiny bit crooked. So I'm going to kind of line it up as best I can to the front. Oops, got my finger stuck. And then I'm going to just close this over just a little bit, just to kind of hold it in place and just see it's just a little bit crooked. So make sure when you line yours up, you do yours just a little bit better than mine. That way you don't have to worry about the crooked inside of the card. But I wanted it to be that way. That way you'd have the layer. So we did this again. The first layer we cut was with the biggest circle, and this is in the layering circle dies. And then we decided to open on the inside, and then I used the next layer down to cut this one. Only thing is I just didn't line it up. So you might be better off cutting, not cutting them at the same time, but cutting them and just being a little bit more precise when you lay this down. So I kind of matched it up to the line here. You could probably kind of do them in there together, like nest them together when you started. So you could start like this with this one on the inside. Decide where you want to put it. Just like that. You could then tape your inner piece down. So you could tape your inner piece and then take your pencil and trace around. That way you knew exactly where to line up your second layer. So then if you had that one traced down, then you could put this on top. I know this doesn't make sense backwards after the fact, but it would just make so your inside of your card. It is lined up nicely on this part here, and I just did this again for that little piece to show through. But on the inside here, it's a little crooked, but that's just the way I cut it. So if you take your time, you definitely can do it simpler. It really isn't as complicated as I'm making it out to be. And then on the outside here, so you have your embossed wood. So then the only thing we're going to do is just figure out something to say. So I believe, where's my little birds go? Here they are. This one thing about the birds doesn't have any sentiments in it, so be mindful of that. But I'm going to stamp a few more of these on here before we finish. So I'm going to stamp these, and then I'm going to put, I think I'm going to do this as a happy birthday because it would be cute. And the other one too, the Cozy Cottage does have a lot of really nice ones. This will be great. Home is wherever I'm with you. You could even put that on the front. We could trim it. That'll be a great one. We're going to use that one instead. Home is wherever I'm with you. So we're going to put that here on the outside. We're just going to pop that up on something. That's fun. This is a really, really fun stamp set to be able to color. The Cozy Cottage. I did one with this a couple weeks back. So maybe I'm going to finally be able to put this in with this. I saw a really cute idea in the catalog, and I just haven't tried it yet. But they have a cozy, it's like a cottage stamp set that you could use with the chairs. It's a like an outdoor set. So if you were at like a cafe, and it's really cute because the outside has a nice cut through layer, and then the inside they have where you can have the chairs sitting, or you can have the chairs cut out. So you could kind of also even do that with the Cozy Cottage. You just have to really stamp the chairs and then just trim around the edges, which really wasn't that difficult because I did one like that. I have all the layers for it. I just haven't put it together yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this sentiment onto this little scrap piece that I cut off from this when we were making the base. And I'm going to just stamp it, just to stick with the same thing. I'm just going to stamp it Memento. And we'll see if we can get this to line up. Hopefully. Oh, that's pretty good. That's almost as good as when Christian does it. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry before I trim it so I don't smudge it all up. And then in the meantime, we're going to add a few more of these little guys on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of these to the outside up top here, like the butterfly and the birds, and then we can add a couple more on the inside here as well. So this does have a lot of stuff with it, just no sentiments, which is pretty unusual. I don't think we have a whole lot of stamp sets that don't have any sentiments, but this one is a really, really cute stamp set. I like it a lot anyway, because it's very simple to color. Kind of fun to color. The same thing with the cottage, the cozy cottage. It really, what I did is I stamped a whole bunch of them, and then I took my watercolor pencils and my Stampin' Blends, and that's when I colored them in. I kind of did them all together, but it made it really fun to be able to do. So we have just a little bird. So I'm going to do this one first. This would be a great use too for your Stampin' Spots. If you have some Stampin' Spots, because they're really easy to ink up these little images. Let's see which way this guy's going. Gonna put him like he was flying in. Put one on the other side here while we're at it. And I'm gonna add in a few. I'm gonna add in one more because this one's going a little different direction. Flying in. Like he's making a landing. You could stamp these in black too and color them if you like. And then I'm going to do just a couple of the butterflies. And I'm going to do them in a really, really light. I'm going to do them in Pink Pirouette, which is super, super, super pale. And stamp the butterfly over here. Because butterflies love flowers. He's almost so pale you can't really even see him. So if you did want him a little bit darker. You could also, before you adhere this, you could have sponged something around the edge if you want to bring it out a little bit. And then I'm going to do this other little butterfly in Blushing Bride. Just put him off to the side. And then there's also a little bee in here. These are a lot of cute things that are kind of really good for filling in space if you don't know what to do with something. You want to fill in space. I'm going to bring in, the last little thing is the bee, and I'm actually going to do him in the crushed curry, since the base was crushed curry. Really fun stamp. Okay, and I'm just going to trim this guy out real quick. And I'm going to keep this really straight and neat. Not going to do any fancy flagging on the ends or anything. And I want to just trim this down just a little bit so it's like really right on the edge of the words. You could do this with your Stampin' Trimmer, I suppose, but I always end up goofing it up. Okay, so then I'm going to just put this flat on there. I'm going to use some snail. Put him right onto the front. Probably could have trimmed that just a little bit tighter, but no worries. And I want to just do this one more time. I'm just going to fold him down just so it all stays together. But this is a really fun card. A little bit more fun if you had the inside lined up better, but you know, I have to work on that. But really fun. So it's 2 different layers, and also kind of gives you some space if you wanted to leave this blank. So if you just wanted to have your stamped image here, so you could stamp this entire thing right here on the front, just like that. And that way when you open it up, you have a little bit more space to write. But you could certainly fit something under here as well. And again, if you wanted to, you could make this so it wasn't quite as trimmed down. I did trim mine down just a teeny bit much, which will probably also help with lining it up a little bit better. If you had, so this one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 the front. If you had this to be 4 by 5 1/4, because your panel would fit in there a little, like, well, anyway, a little bit more snug, and you probably would have less error of actually making it crooked. So that might be a good idea as well, just to have your inside a little bit more lined up. But this will stand up on its own. So you can stand it up, and even if you had it, depending on which direction, if you wanted it to face this way, it would stand up this way as well. And again, I did use the thick Whisper White because I was going to be coloring in a little bit. This one we used with the blends, which is hidden on the inside, so that's no big deal. But again, there's also, you know, you could do this as a, this one's not finished yet, but you could do this as a different shaped card. So it was a little bit sideways with the lengthwise. And this was using the basket weave, okay? And then I also had the dynamic sequins. I just didn't end up cutting a hole in this one yet. So dynamic sequins, and then what I did was I put This was just like a shorter layer that I put in here. So there's definitely lots of stuff you can do with this. It is really fun. And adding that second peek through layer was a good idea. Just have to be a little bit better in the execution. But if you didn't, this is what it would look like. So you would just have your layer here of whatever your image is. I didn't even erase my pencil line on this one yet. And then on the inside, you could write your sentiment. That way you could have something to write there as well. And you could add, even to this, you could add like a little bit of, this would be a really cute card, just even for like a housewarming card, because you do have that really, really sweet welcome that comes with the cozy cottage. So you could put welcome. And this could be, you know, welcome to the neighborhood. You could put that on the inside, just right there on the bottom, write your sentiment. And then you could put something really pretty on the outside as well. Another sentiment would be really, or journeys better with a friend. A lot of cards. This could be really beautiful sympathy card. You could make it into very easily just by changing the color scheme a little bit. I don't necessarily think I'd send Melon Mambo, but if you did a softer pink, it would be really pretty. But all of these come with the layering circles. It does come with also the scallops. So if you wanted to make something a little different, you could do the outside layer scalloped and then the inside layer as a circle. But these are really great. I have the ovals and the squares and the circles, obviously. But I will say, I do like the stamps or the punches, because they're very easy to use. And if you want to just like hurry up and well, look what I found, the magnet. If you want to hurry up and like bang out a bunch of cards, it is easier to use the punches, but these are really versatile because you get so many different sizes. That's why I like these. I like these, and I really, really like the stitched layering dies. They come with the circles, the squares, and the ovals all in one. So anyway, thank you guys as always for joining. I really appreciate it. I got to clean up my little bit of mess here. And once I get these colored in and blended a little bit the rest of the way, I will post this onto my blog later, and I'll see if I can finish this one up with something different and maybe make it so it's got a double card, but it lines up correctly. So hopefully this has given you guys another idea of something else that you could do with your stamps and with your cardstock if you have it. If you have an order, the March host code is valid through the end of the month. So all you have to do is add this to your order, and it goes to directly to the online store. And when you place a $50 order, you do get a free PDF, full color. I have a whole bunch of new ones that are coming out, so that's a lot of fun. And also, don't forget, this Saturday coming up is the spring, I think it's actually Easter, kind of like Easter spring-ish blog hop. So be sure you go to Rachthestamper.com starting Saturday. I believe there's usually at least 10 people in it. This one was pretty good. I did miss last month's, but I'm making up for it this month. So maybe we'll see something similar with this with a different stamp set, which would be kind of fun. But I haven't made it yet, so who knows. But anyway, so the stamp set, or the blog hop, starts Saturday at 10 o'clock. You can start at Rach the Stamper, and you can follow it all the way through. It has links to everybody's blog that's entered. Tammy is always very generous. She gives away a free prize, so all you have to do is leave your name and a comment and hashtag Stamp It Contest, and you'll be entered to win. There's no purchase necessary, completely free. You can also get some really great ideas for Easter cards if you have any that you need to make last minute. I haven't made mine yet, so we have to figure out what I'm going to do for that. But anyway, thank you guys as always for joining. You can follow me here. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, all those at Rach the Stamper. And anything that you'd like to get in my online store is available 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. If you have any questions, you can feel free to shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. Also, I do have a newsletter if you'd like to be added to it. You just have to give me permission to add you and send me your email address. And finally, if you need a catalog, so I still have catalogs from the current, but if you want to be on the mailing list for the new catalog, I do need your full name and mailing address. If you've already given it to me in the past, you will automatically get one as soon as it comes out. They usually ship them, I think, about mid-May, and then you can purchase from them on June 3rd of 2018. That's when the new catalog will go live. But if you don't have a catalog and you want one now, I can still send you the version that is current now, and then I'll put you on the list for the next one when it comes out. But I do need your full mailing address. Make sure you include your zip code. A lot of times people forget that. So, thank you guys for watching as always. I hope you have an awesome week, and I will draw a prize for anyone that's left a comment on this. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I will say this. If you're in the United States, I'll send you the prize. The shipping everywhere else is astronomical. And thank you to last week's winner for understanding that. I will send you something else if that is the case. But if you are in the continental United States, I'll be happy to mail you something. I'm not sure what we're going to draw for yet, but it'll be something fun. So just make sure you leave a comment. I'll just keep chatting for one more minute. If you haven't typed anything, you can just say hi. It's good enough for me. And then I will draw probably tomorrow afternoon. That way I can try to send it out, hopefully by the end of the week. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you have an awesome week, maybe I'll join you tomorrow if we don't have a snow day. Maybe we can pop back on and do something else fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have an awesome day.